The aggression conciliation model and illustration helps us to further understand that Martin Luther King's philosophy of nonviolence requires that we look at the problem not through a periscope in a very narrow sense, because it limits our vision, and we might see targets even through periscopes, okay, or through binoculars. But we don't see the total picture and the total condition that even in the pre- and post-Renaissance thinkers, you see this contrast. Because the pre-Renaissance thinkers, before the French Revolution, they looked at truth by examining the most minute particle of any substance. And they were looking for the essence of a thing or an organism. And they wanted to really get down to the actual placenta of a seed, of a fruit. Or they wanted to look at cells and even nucleus, the nucleus of the cell, because they wanted to see the genesis and the origin of life in this particular organism. And they felt that they had discovered truth when they go and examine the most minute particle. And that gave a different perception of truth. The post-Renaissance thinkers felt that if you wanted to really understand a particular organism or an animal, and you would have to look at that behavior in the environment itself. You would have to look at how that particular organism behaves in its environment. If you want to know the truth about a person, it's in the not isolation, but the socialization, and how they contribute or how they take away or how they're viewed in their context of community. And it was only that in that context of community and that condition of the community that we see how people were affected by disease. And that's where the people either got the healing components or either they got the contaminants. And by changing that environment, one was able to make it a much more healthy environment. And then we can also see the essence of that person and be able to see how that person came to understand truth. And therefore, Martin Luther King says when we look at a problem, we must do it in the medical model. Don't simply look at the effects or symptoms of the problem, but go to the root cause and also the total environment that contributes to that problem. And unless we change that environment, so it is with government. We might not like the way a particular individual behaves. We say all we got to do now is get rid of that individual because their decision making and their attitude and but then once we find out that if the system is not changed, there are others who will simply replicate the individuals that we remove. So it's not removing the symptoms that cause change, but it's changing the condition that produces the symptoms.